Awesome. Thank you so much, Kathy. So hi, I'm Susan Hansen, and I'd like to share with the team a bit about the Welcome and Belonging project. So the Welcome and Belonging project involves 6 students and 4 staff as an initiative coming out of the Centre for Social Justice and Inclusion in response to the additional hardship experienced by students during COVID. So in May, the Centre for Social Justice and Inclusion called around 700 students at risk of being impacted by COVID to see how they were, survey their experience, but also to triage them into appropriate support services. So not surprisingly, there are a variety of challenges that were surfaced, in particular wellbeing related issues. So this is the catalyst for this project to see how UTS could understand and then address some of these challenges in partnership with students, taking a human-centered participatory approach. So we've also been looking for opportunities to build on previous research and initiatives, such as that student journey work, which Alicia has spoken to us about and we've been engaging with, and also the socially responsive design student research from 2019. So the students have done quite a lot of work over the past couple of months, both with each other as a team, but also with other students as well, to understand the problem space and to focus where our efforts will maximise the impact of this project. So we have a lot which we could share, but keeping in mind the time today, we'd like to give you a snapshot into some of the work that we've done so far, beginning with you hearing from the team some of their experiences and insights. We'll also share our mission statement, and finally there are 3 asks that we'd like to put forward to the university and this group. So as I mentioned, we'd like to start by sharing the reflections by students. And so these are both based on their own experiences, while also taking into account some of the things that they've heard from their peers. So to do this, we're going to share 3 poems written by Ilham, one of our talented students, that illustrates 3 aspects of belonging or lack thereof. So the first is Finding My Way Home, which is a reminder of the different backgrounds and the diversity of contexts that students come from before they come to UTS. The second, The Place Where I Belong, illustrates what belonging can look like. And the third, She Doesn't Love My Own, will give you an insight into what a lack of belonging can feel like. So the poems will be read out by Ilham, and then a couple of students will share their related insights after each of the poems. So over to you, Ilham.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to do the poem. This is Finding My Way Home. I don't have a home. I don't have country. I have land that birthed my ancestors, land that mothered me, and land that changed me. I don't have a place where I belong. I spend my whole life hoping to find hope, hoping to make nothing out of myself. My dreams die when I am young, so I spend my adolescence looking for a dream. I believe I have no worth but to settle, to blend in the background, to silence myself, because I can't find a place where I belong. I spend my youth looking for people I can call home, for dreams I can call my own, for a place where I could finally belong.
Thank you so much, Ilham. So Najib and Rock will now share some of their insights. Najib?
We come from different places, different background, with different stories before we come to UTS. I came to Australia from Afghanistan at 15 and had to complete high school and learn English at the same time. I never thought university would be an option for me. I started working in construction after high school because I didn't have any other options. This was until someone told me about the UTS Humanitarian Scholarship. This made university possible, a dream become true.
Thank you, Najib. Rock?
We all have different situations at home and different relationships with Australia too. I work at the same time I study to take care of my mom, who is an amazing woman, who faced a whole lot of hardship, finally being able to bring us to Australia. Australia is not home, but I still get a lot of people staring at me like they haven't seen a Black person before. The other day, a person fell off a bike because he was looking at me so intensely.
Thank you, Rock. The second poem is called The Place Where I Belong. Ilham.
I want for love that feeds my mind, feeds my soul, and helps me find a place I can dream and call home, a place where I belong. I find a love that lets me grow, gives me purpose, reason, and the need to know all the dreams I can have and the places I can go. I believe in science. I question things I couldn't before. I find a place where I belong and it pushes me to find some more. This place I find that lets me be the best version of me, a scientist, a dreamer, a visionary. UTS is a place where I belong. Okay,
Thank you.
that's my part.
Thank you, Ilham. And so now Ilham and Anishma are going to share their insights. So back to you, Ilham.
Thank you. So UTS has great potential to give us a chance to belong to a community. Sometimes that's for the first time. I never felt like I fit in anywhere, third culture kid, and didn't want much for myself. When I had the chance to be involved in the DISC project, which is Designing Inclusive Science Curricula, I began to feel like my voice mattered and that I was part of something bigger than myself. I never thought I'd be a student advocate until someone referred to me as that. And now I find myself being involved in many projects that have changed my life personally and professionally.
Awesome. Thank you, Ilham. Anishma.
Yep, so feeling a sense of belonging makes it more likely that students will think of UTS as a place they can go for support and help, both with study and with life. UTS for me was just a place that I was at to get a degree because my cousin used to study here. This started to change with a few things, beginning with when UTS contacted me after COVID happened. Getting contacted was the start of me thinking that UTS actually cares about me. So I had a legal issue about 3 weeks ago, and it was the first time that I thought of maybe seeing if there was something at UTS that could maybe help me.
Awesome. Thank you, Anishma. And the third and final poem is called She Doesn't Love My Own. Ilham.
I find a place where I belong. She introduces me to friends I can call my own. Like me, they're very far from home, but unlike me, they don't feel like they belong. They tell me she's too much, unapproachable, inaccessible, overwhelming, and isolating. She's stressing everyone back home. They often wonder if there's hope, if they can make ends meet for the week, how long they can stay, and if things go wrong, which places they could go. They could get choked up and ask no questions. You'd rather struggle to read a map before asking someone for directions. She tells them she cares, but she doesn't convey that well. They find it hard to believe because they were once viewed as a good sell. Thank you.
Thank you, Ilham. So Elsa and Bethlehem are now going to comment. Elsa.
In my perspective, for example, most Chinese students use WeChat to ask each other questions because they feel more comfortable asking other people who have similar experiences to them and speak their language. Sometimes they are stuff in group chats, which is good, but the group is too big, so we run out of time. Other times the staff don't know the answer and tell us to call student center. However, not all students will have the access to connect the student center, and include me. I think if I need to wait for a long time, I might probably give up to ask for help, since I have been waited for like about half an hour several times.
Thanks, Elsa. And now Bethlehem.
There's opportunity for the diversity in UTS to feel more authentic and genuine, and not just a token. There are also some groups, particularly non-white people, who may not feel comfortable accessing services or feel that services are provided for them. A lot of the time, I feel like I'm a part of the quota that the organization is just trying to meet. I'm that token woman of color just to add diversity to the white men that do exist. Services are there, but it doesn't feel like they were there. They were created with me in mind. And so I started the African Society for that sole purpose. I wanted to create a community where people can feel there's a place for them and also promote genuine inclusion.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ilham and team. So after engaging with with ourselves, our team, and also many students from across the university. Also after several analysis and synthesis sessions together, the group refined our project problem into a mission statement. So our mission statement is create opportunities to build the connections that strengthen belonging and UTS's identity as a diverse university that cares. So there's really two parts to this mission statement. There's the first, the opportunity to build connections. And the second is around identity and that diverse university that cares. We're actually doing this in different ways at the moment, in and out of the classroom. But there's an opportunity to really claim it and explicitly own it. And we also feel that belonging is something that underpins both of these things in the mission statement. So to work towards achieving this mission statement, the group have 3 asks that we would like to put forward to this group, which Bethlehem is now going to describe for us. So I'll hand back over to Bethlehem.
Thanks for that. So involve us, provide a seat at the table and value this through remuneration in ways that are important to students. People's experiences are unique and therefore you can only guess what people's experiences are like without having those shared experiences. In saying so, one size doesn't fit all. We need to acknowledge the spectrum of people and needs by including a variety of students. Advocating diversity is great, but first we've got to acknowledge that it exists, right? Before we can actually celebrate it. Also, there are many opportunities to value our involvement in different forms. For instance, I had received academic credit for my involvement as a student lead in the DISC project. Similarly, other students received remuneration in ways in which ultimately showed that they were acknowledged and also their involvement was valued. Understand us. So invest in better understanding students to ensure that we're tailoring services with us in mind. Our abilities, our backgrounds, our capacities, our capacities to receive help, our differences, and our needs. An inclusive service includes how it can be accessed and people's journeys in and out of that service. Therefore, supporting them in all parts of that service is actually essential. There's so many unspoken barriers. For example, in my culture, my problems are my problems. We don't ask for help. And this can make it so much harder to work out what support is needed without actually having that experience in accessing those services. And therefore, ultimately, you don't know what support is out there to support you in any way. And unfortunately, this experience actually intensifies when you are at multiple intersections in our society. So the worst part, I guess, for me is that if you're an international student here at university, this is exponentially harder. And so the cycle of privilege, this refers to the privilege of having access to an opportunity, which then increases your access to another opportunity, and so forth and so forth. Unfortunately, this is also the case if you are a minority student and you have limited access to these opportunities. That limited access creates another limited access to opportunities, and that continues as well. So yeah, so basically that continues the negative cycle of privilege. And help us build connections. Increase opportunities to create genuine connections within UTS, with UTS, and with each other. Help us create a network. University is about more than just studying. It's about having a student experience and building our network for now and beyond. These networks are what differentiates us from online university, and it's actually one of the greatest things that UTS has to offer. And so there's a term that we did coin up called comfortability. Thanks, Rock, for that. So it affects the ability to recognize opportunities to form genuine connections. This is the essential foundation for a real student experience and to feel part of the community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bethlehem. So where are we right now? We're right in the middle of this, exploring the solution space. So we've started concepting and identifying opportunity areas with the team. We've also started engaging a range of different service providers and units across the university. So next we plan to reach out to a broader UTS staff and student community, and we are very interested in more faculty engagement. So please let me know if you are interested in being involved. Thank you.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. We are interested in them being part of a project with us, with belonging. Alicia, do you want to say something about that?
Only that IML are looking at a project around designing in belonging into the curriculum, and that we're really keen to be working closely with the students on that. And particularly that thing of wanting a seat at the table around course design and course review, subject design. We would like to continue that conversation and maybe hopefully have some kind of workshop on October the 6th where we can bring staff into that space, depending on what you think is most appropriate.
So that's a university-wide stuff, but focusing around designing belonging into the curriculum with students as a co-project. That's fantastic. Thank you.